Welcome to the Rise Above show with Patricia Jo Grover. Today, my guest is Lourdes Billingsley. And let me tell you a little bit about Lourdes. You know, she is a somatic practitioner, and her mission is to help you to free yourself from the disempowering effects of your past. At the heart of her work is humility, compassion, and understanding that life and your nervous system are designed to guide us into happiness and profound knowing that you are loved and being guided towards all that is good. She is driven by her own learning as a student of the path of life and is calling to share what she has learned. It's been her privilege to work with people of over 20 years in what she's doing and help them to find their own truth by healing and their own path into the world. Well, so happy to have you with me, Lourdes.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
So I know we really want to get your message across, and this global pandemic has affected so many people on so many different levels. So before we start with asking the questions I have for you, can you tell us a little bit more about what you're doing?
Well, I think what I wanted to share today was I wanted to take a little time to talk about how the pandemic has really affected our nervous system. And it's something that can range from being very subtle to being very dramatic. And I think we don't really kind of realize how deeply we've been affected in our nervous system that is really designed to help us with survival and dealing with fight or flight. And when you think about the pandemic, it has put a lot of us into a place of fight or flight because this invisible threat has been alarming us, and we're trying to figure out, what's the cure? How do I take care of myself? How do I protect my family? And we've also been in a place of isolation for so long. And this has a lot of powerful effects on the nervous system and the body. And now that we're going back out into the world, some of us may be kind of feeling like, well, how do I get myself back out there? How do I re-enter with all this fear that I might be holding around getting sick, right? Because we've spent a whole year protecting ourselves in that fight or flight mode. So I wanted to offer and share some tips around how to regulate your nervous system, which is what somatic experiencing is all about.
Oh, fantastic. So yes, this actually is going to help people have a better understanding of what's going on within their own self. So fantastic, Lourdes. So can I ask you a few questions?
I would love that.
Wonderful. Okay. So can you explain how and why this past year has affected our nervous system? And why is it so hard to put things behind us and move forward?
Sure. So nature designed this beautiful system within our bodies and within our nervous system that's designed to protect us from threat. And we all know that it's called fight or flight, right? So something comes towards us that might endanger us in some way, and our body mobilizes all these hormones and energy and vitality in order to protect ourselves, right? So we go into fight or flight. So either we run or we fight, or we might even freeze. And so the virus has been an invisible threat, right? It's not one that we can actually touch. We can name it. We're not even really sure about it. But it's been a threat to our nervous system, to our bodies, and it's put us in a long-term subtle for some, maybe dramatic for others, form of fight or flight. And we've all had to retreat. And one of the things that is very common for many of us is that we don't understand all those bodily sensations that happen to us when we go into fight or flight. And many of us don't have really an understanding of how all of that works. So we haven't really been able to work with what's been happening in the nervous system in a way that helps us move through the cycle of fight or flight. One of the reasons why Army veterans or war veterans get PTSD is because they haven't been able to resolve fight or flight. So when the mobilization of all of those energies that come in the body and the hormones to protect ourselves isn't completed, you get kind of stuck. And so with this invisible threat, many of us don't know how to work with all of those sensations. So we start doing other things to mitigate it. And that mitigation, rather than completing the process of fight or flight, is what keeps us stuck and makes it harder for us to resolve, because we don't know, we don't have the tools, we don't have the skill to feel into what's happening into the nervous system and to process and resolve that fight or flight.
Right, right. Well, that's a great explanation. It helps people get their heads wrapped around this a little more. So how does one come to terms with all of this that's occurred and find their way back to finding a new life or the new normalcy that we're all looking for?
That's a really good question. And I wish that we had an answer that would resolve it just like that. Because one of the things that being in isolation has done is that it's taken away all of the pillars that we've had in our life that has helped us to kind of deal with these underlying energies that are living in the body, living in the nervous system, that we've kind of kept at bay for a long time. And so what we need to do is we need to learn how to regulate the nervous system. We need to learn how to relax more deeply in the body. We need to learn how to feel comfortable feeling the sensations that are running in the body, like the sensations of fight or flight. And we need to be able to sit with these things, these sensations, these energies that are in the body for a period of time. We need to be able to slow down so we can feel these energies so that they can resolve. And that has a lot to do with self-care, Patricia, which is something that many of us don't do or don't know how to do. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, exactly. I actually have a bliss retreat for women coming up the end of this month. And, it is all about learning to put oneself first and not feeling guilty about it. It is.
That's right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's so important. And I'm sure in your bliss retreat that you're giving women ample opportunity to kind of slow down and move from the thinking and more into the feeling and the letting go. The challenge is that when we get into that place of feeling and of letting go, we can feel kind of uncomfortable with the things that we find there.
Exactly. That's why myself and the other lady that's co-hosting with me, have everything put together to make this a fantastic event for people to be able to find their bliss.
Exactly.
And the bliss is believe in yourself, love for yourself, identify what's holding you back, set free what no longer serves you, and set course on achieving your dreams and goals. And so many people are in need for these things right now.
That's right. Yeah. I was reading a little interview with Amanda Seyfried, who's one of the stars in the show Mean Girls. And it turns out that she's got like very serious panic attacks and anxiety. And she talks about how when she goes into these panic attacks, it's like a form of fight or flight, which is exactly what it is. That's what that anxiety is, and that churning we can feel in our bodies. nobody wants to be feeling that on a regular basis, right?
That is so, so true. And so many people, again, with everything that has been upended due to the global pandemic, really need to have a better understanding of how to get control of that. So you're doing wonderful things, Lourdes, with helping people. So can I ask you, Lourdes, how do you cope with the news of how did you cope with the news of the shutdown, but also all the twists and turns that we thought it was going to be over with, but yet now there's other strains coming out.
I know.
How are you making it through this year?
Yeah. Thank you so much for asking that question. When we first got the news about what was going on, I was very frightened, honestly. We lost 50% of our income like that because in my husband's work, the outlet that he sells in, closed, and we had all these plans to do things in our lives, and I really went into fight or flight. So I had to utilize all the tools. And it wasn't like I went into fight or flight once. I'd wake up in the morning with this dread, So I started intentionally taking the time to feel what was happening in my body. And honestly, I cried a lot. And I would cry in the mornings, and I would get up and I would do my day. And after I cried, or after I felt what was happening in my body, I would feel so much better because I was helping my body move through that fight or flight process. Because if we don't move through it, all that angst, it gets stuck in the body, and then you're moving through your day like that, or you're doing, it doesn't go away, but you have to settle down. So I did a lot of work settling down. And when I look back to how I was in the beginning to how I am now, it's like night or day. So not only did I work with the anxiety and fear that I was experiencing in the beginning of the pandemic, but I also healed some things that were already there, some long-standing issues that I had in my body. I developed a nice meditation practice. I'm hiking, I'm eating, we got a puppy. That's a great way to regulate the nervous system. And I just created a very steady path for myself. And I will say, Patricia, and you probably know this yourself too, because I'm sure you've been doing all these things as well, given what you do. It's not perfect, right? Because like you said, here we are, and there's more coming, so to say. There's more things to be concerned about. There's more out there that might get us. So we really have to develop a resilient and strong bodily container to work with these things that are coming towards us, so we can stay steady and have really good discernment and find our way through the path of life.
Yes. And what I teach people, Lourdes, is life happens to every single one of us, whether we're ready for it or not. And this global pandemic has proven this worldwide. But for each and every one of us, we have to know where it is we are actually at. And that's in all levels, just like you're talking about, your physical, but your emotional health, everything. And I work with people on those things too, putting themselves first, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, all these things become tools that you have in your toolbox.
That's right.
Be able to give you that power to move forward. So I won't keep going into that, because I want to really get across what it is you're doing in that aspect to be able to help people. So Lourdes, what does your work with people look like? Who are the people that are benefiting working with a somatic practitioner?
Yeah. So you really just inspired me, and it's a perfect lead into your next question, because I think one of the things that people miss when they do their personal work is that our mental state is driven by our physiology. So the way we feel, the sensations that we feel in our bodies, our fears, our anxiety, our joy, our happiness, right? So if you think about it, if we're having good feelings, then we have really nice, good thoughts. We feel inspired, right? When those sensations are positive in the body and we feel like we have space. When the body is contracted, the nervous system is going into fight or flight, then the mind darkens, right? So traditionally, in a lot of work, people are trying to fix things up in here in the head, right? Let me change my thoughts. Let me change the way I see things. In my work, we're working with feeling and changing and helping what's happening in the body. So the work comes from the body up. So it's like we're feeling those sensations of anxiety. We're examining the feelings that are coming up in the body. And then once those things are felt and held, then that informs the mind. So I have people, Patricia, that I work with that couldn't drive. They couldn't socialize. I have people that have been riddled with anxiety for years, nervousness, just all kinds of stuff. But once they tapped into the body and we were able to create a stronger container of resilience that actually brought good feelings, these people are driving, they're socializing, they're not having all those repetitive thoughts about what's wrong with them because their nervous system and their hormones have regulated and calmed them to where, it's like instead of the body giving a rainstorm, instead it's shining the sun, right? And there people are opening and feeling more freedom and more at ease. It's beautiful work. I really love it. It's totally helped me in my life. I have a past of being abused. And for years I suffered with my own form of PTSD, and this somatic experiencing work freed me up where I'm no longer occupied mentally anymore. I'm so much more in the moment. It's really beautiful work and so deserving. People deserve it so much.
Exactly. And everyone is worthy. And you're capable of having better, having more, doing more, and being more. And with people that practice, like Lourdes helping you with the somatic practitioner, the way that she helps work with her clients will help individuals get to where you want to be. So that is fantastic. And I truly believe we are all energy. And, when we raise our vibrations, all good things happen and come from that. So, Lourdes, what are some simple things that one can take to easily back up into the being socially engaged? And what I like to use being engaged, period, just engaged in your life, engaged in the world around you, engaged in your future and what it's going to be. What are some steps that you can share with us?
Okay. I just wanted to acknowledge that the screen froze for a moment there. So in terms of steps, what I offer are small steps, small things that you can do for yourself. It depends on how intense your situation is. You might need a practitioner to work with. So if that's something you feel called to do, I'm available to help you, or I can send you to someone else if it doesn't feel like a match. But in the smallest way, and you, Patty, you and I can do this together right now if you want. Let's just notice where we are. Looking around our environment and feeling how the chair is holding us and giving the body an opportunity to settle down. That's one very important first step. And slowing things down and paying attention to your body's needs. Drinking when you're thirsty. Going to the bathroom when you have to go to the bathroom. Resting when it's time to rest. Stopping when your back hurts. Just those small things. You don't have to take a big vacation or anything, but just those little things of bringing your attention to your body. You can even just put one hand on the center of your chest and another hand on your stomach and just take a few momentary relaxing breaths and just slow things down. Now, Patty and I have been excited talking to each other, but you can see how right now I'm slowing down, and you can follow me in that. Notice the chair you're sitting in. Notice how your back is supported. What do you notice just from doing that, Patty? I feel totally different already. We should have done that to start with.
Yes. Well, and I truly, truly believe in that, Lourdes. I do meditation myself and Tai Chi. And so I am a true, true believer in anyone who does take the time to connect themselves with the planet, with the earth, and with themselves more deeply, and be able to feel, like Lourdes was saying, how you can feel how your body is reacting to what's going on in the world around us. And having deep understanding of what's going on will be helpful to you, so beneficial.
Patty, you inspired me again. I'm thinking about all the women that we both work with and what women go through in their lives, right? The abuse. And we know lots of women are put through very difficult things. Sometimes women are raped, sometimes they are abused, sometimes they are mugged, abusive relationships. And all of that, those experiences get lodged in the nervous system. And for most women, we don't have anyone that we can turn to kind of give us that human contact to help us resolve those fears that we're left with when we walk out into the world. I know you know what I'm talking about because you work with so many women. And this work is an opportunity for women to resolve those past wounds, those past experiences that we're holding in our bodies that now make us fearful of being in the world. I have a young woman that I'm working with her and her sister, they've gone through a lot in their family and the world around them. And when they go to work, they feel like they can't relax because they feel like someone's watching them and they might get in trouble, right? That's all. And that's not happening to them at all. They're amazing women. But it's that kind of funny thing that gets stuck there in the body. And even though that's not happening in the environment that we're in, no one's going to demand that we work. The nervous system feels that way. So we're not in the present moment because we're being driven by this stored fear in the body that colors our perception, and I so want women to be free from that. I want everybody to be free from that. I feel like what we're doing in our work together, Patty, in different ways, right, is stuff that needs to get taught in school for, kindergarten, first grade, how to regulate your nervous system, right? How to be happy, how to trust yourself. It's such important work.
Exactly. And like you said, Lourdes, many women have had such struggles, and I've shared different things when I've been on different summits and talking, but we have a hard time to learn to know, like, trust, and ultimately love ourselves. And that's where what you do and what I do comes in, to be able to take people from where they are to where they want to be, because you really have to dig deep and find out, all these things to be able to have positive forward movement. So wonderful. And so I'm so happy that I had you on, Lourdes. Are there any gifts that you have that you want to share with our viewers?
I do. I am happy with anyone who's watching today. If what I have said has inspired you in any way, or you feel like, oh, something inside of you responded positively, I'd be happy to give you a free 30-minute consultation to talk about what's going on for you, how this work may help you. Maybe we could work together, or maybe I'm just going to send you to some resources. I really, my mission is to educate and to provide opportunities for people for healing. So you can reach me at my website, www.lourdesbillingsley.com, and make an appointment there, and we'll set up a time to talk.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lourdes. And go ahead. And for anyone who wants to find out more about me, you can go to patriciajogrover.com. And if you text the word GOAL, GOAL, to 26786, I have gifts there for you. Thank you again, Lourdes, for being with me. I have a little video for everybody as we're heading out. But thank you again, and it's been wonderful having you.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation.